I am obsessed with collecting African American history, and it is my enjoyment. It soothes my soul.
It's described as one of the most important collections of African American history ever assembled, but it's not found in any museum. It's housed in the Staten Island, New York home of 90-year-old Elizabeth Meaders. For the past 60 years, this former New York City schoolteacher has been assembling artifacts that document the entirety of the African American experience, from the nation's beginning to the current day.
This is a display of abolition and slavery,
telling stories filled with tears and triumphs, with one mission in mind.
My mission in collecting this particular African American history collection is to create a patriotic healing and teaching instrument to compensate for the fact that as a teacher and just as an ordinary citizen, I know that African American history has been completely omitted from American history.
Meaders' African American History Trust collection features over 20,000 individual items.
And over here we have an authentic baton that belonged to Cab Calloway.
Heidi, 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 ho! Heidi, 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 ho!
Here's an autographed picture of him with his baton making great music.
There are personal letters from historic icons.
This is a Martin Luther King signed civil rights letter.
And memorabilia from the world of sports.
Over here we have a life-size wax figure that came out of a wax museum of Hank Aaron, an important, iconic African-American sports hero. In this corner we have a bronze statue of Joe Louis, and on the bottom a pair of Muhammad Ali's fight-worn shoes.
The items fill every nook and cranny of Meaders' home, and that's not an exaggeration. But as she enters her 90s, Meaders made the tough decision to part ways with her collection by putting it up for auction, not as individual pieces, but sold intact.
You know, even collectors reach the end of the road, and when you're as old as I now am, it's important to take on the responsibility of making sure that it has another life.
Elizabeth Meaders' collection is nothing short of extraordinary.
Arlen Ettinger is the president of Guernsey's auction house.
I hadn't seen anything like before, nor have I seen anything like it since. A collection that comprehensively documents the African American experience in ways that much smarter people than I, much more knowledgeable people than I, think is the finest collection of its type in existence. So it's overwhelming.
Over here I have weaponry from the Civil War.
Estimates of the collection's value vary, but it could be worth as much as $10 million.
I'm shocked to know that a Pokemon card can go for $1 million and that Marilyn Monroe's dress can go for $5 million. And so my question really is, how much does America value American history? I have no idea. And I have only a prayer that I send out with this collection.
And, you know, Meaders obviously wants to keep it intact. That auction is going to start next month at Guernsey's. Really interesting. She took odd jobs to finance this, mortgaged her house a few times, and it started with admiration for Jackie Robinson, and it just inspired her to keep going.
It's amazing how much she's focused on the next generation and making sure all of this stuff ends up in the right hands and
for all to see, let's hope.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't have a second life as a curator in the museum someplace. I'm sure the Smithsonian
She sort of did.
knock on her door.